Hi, my name is Konstantin, and this is one of the series of short videos about the engineering calculation platform Wosad. This video will show you how we can use parameter editor module to enter calculation parameters. If you remember in the previous video on calculation mapper, we've defined a fairly simple calculation diagram by dragging a few blocks into the calculation space, and we connected those blocks to make sure that the parameters are shared between different blocks. Let's take a look at some of those blocks and see how we can enter calculation parameters and how we can inspect the calculation output. You can see here that this block has input parameters and output parameters. Input parameters, which are mapped ground acceleration parameters, are provided by another block here, which is defined by this connection. So these values are set to zeros right now, but they'll be updated once we run the calculations. We can also see what types of parameters the calculation block can output. In this case, these are side coefficients f sub a and f sub v. Also, what you can do is you can override any parameters. So if you click the override calculated values here, you can enter your own values in here, and you can also enter a description of why you chose to override the default values. The software will continue with the overridden parameters instead of the calculated parameters. This is very useful when you have specific site parameters, for example from a geotechnical report, or you can always use your engineering judgment to override any calculated values based on specific project conditions. Let's take a look at another block, which is the ground motion acceleration parameters, the map ground motion acceleration parameters block. And you can see here that Wosad has a very powerful mapping feature that allows you to superimpose the code maps on top of this interactive map. So we can find a location like this. You can take a look at the code parameters, the ground motion acceleration parameters that are defined in the maps. You can also enter the location here, for example, like this, or you can certainly enter latitude and longitude if you know those. You can switch between the maps. And again, we can change the opacity to superimpose the maps on top of the actual interactive map. Another useful feature in Wosad is that you can see how the calculation parameters of one block can impact the results of another block. Let's say we take a look at the design acceleration parameter block, and we know that it would output the design accelerations. And let's say we want to know how changing a site class would impact those. So run a calculation. And we can see that for site class B, these parameters are calculated like you can see here. Let's take a look what would happen if we switch to site class D. You can run the calculation. And as you can see here, the values have been updated. As you can see, Wosad provides a very intuitive and powerful way to enter calculation data. It sort of uses this approach where you deal with one input at a time without seeing multiple inputs in multiple windows. And you can see that each block has a description area which sort of guides you, gives you some important notes about the code assumptions in the software, and just things to watch out for.